Hi, I'm Leslie Smith with Property Quest Realty, and welcome back. Today, I'm going to talk about the power of presence. And what I mean by that is just how you show up in this industry, how you show up in life, how you show up bold and prepared and empowered. People ask me, what is it like being a Black woman in this industry or even a woman in this industry? And I always say the same thing. I don't know any other way to be. I don't really look to act like anyone else. I don't look to do this job like anyone else because that would be really not genuine. So the only way I know how to be is a Black woman in the real estate industry, in the investor space, as a property manager. That's all that I have. I think that sometimes we're overlooked, not necessarily because how someone sees us, but how we actually are presenting ourselves, that we're not taking up space. We're not getting involved in some of the real estate organizations. We're not taking a seat at the table. The days are over where someone is going to give you a seat. We have to take our seat. We have to run for some of these offices that are at the local level in our association or on the state level, even on the national level with the National Association of Realtors. So I'm not always going to put it on them. I'm going to put it back on us that we have to make ourselves seen. We have to let them know our voice because it's also important thinking about who we represent. The majority of my clients, this is not the case for every African American female agent, but the majority of my clients are Black. My clients have a certain amount of income. So they're looking at certain home prices in a certain area. I have to be the voice nationally and locally to represent who I work with. So that's why it's important not for us to take a back seat and just like, well, I'm just selling houses. I can't go talk on this level. I can't go to the association and talk about this. No one's going to listen to me. That's not true. You have to make your voice heard because it's not just for you, it's for the clients that we serve. There have been times where, yes, I've been the only one in the room, the only one that represents a person of color, the only woman. But I don't walk in thinking that everybody thinks that of me. I walk in as confidently as I would if it was nothing but Black women. And I do that because I know that I belong and I know that I have something to say. And I know that what I have to say actually matters and can change the trajectory for someone else. I walk in just as bold and walk in just as knowledgeable as anyone else. I found spaces that I've had to actually seek to see where I'm not just the other, but I'm actually celebrated. This past year, I joined the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and I must say, I found my tribe. I found Black people who are in the real estate industry as a whole, from real estate brokers, real estate agents, inspectors, appraisers, developers, who are really making waves. I have learned from them. I'm part of the Developers Academy to gain more skills in being a developer and learning how to create communities for people who other folks have not even looked to create those types of communities. So I really had to find a place where I can learn, I can grow, I can be a part of something much bigger than myself, but most importantly, where everyone has the same mission, and that is to really increase home ownership for Black people in this country. And it's been the voice since 1968, and we still have a lot of work to do. But I've just found a place where I'm celebrating, and I've really found people who can support me and people who I can look to and say, how'd you do that in Houston? How'd you do that in Louisville? How'd you do that in Atlanta? And let me duplicate that right here in New Orleans. The way I lead, it represents strength, depth, legacy, and honesty. I lead from a place of for myself, but also thinking about other people who may not even have the same privilege that I have, thinking about the next generation. I want to show everyone that this is what today's Black woman is. This is what a leader who happens to be a Black woman actually looks like, actually sounds like, Don't be surprised. I still get people that say, "Oh, but you don't sound like you're from New Orleans. You don't sound like this." I kind of know what that means. I kind of, can get the message. But this is what we are. This is who we are. This is who I represent. And I don't shrink back. And I let them know I'm here. I'm supposed to be here. And let's get this deal done. So when I think about the impact that I can make on other Black girls or young ladies who happen to look at me for some type of inspiration, whether it be in real estate or just in life, that kind of gives me a second win, a chance to really show them that showing up boldly, showing up honestly, showing up authentically, that will go a long way. I don't try to be anybody else but Leslie. And that took time. I can't say that I was always that way, but as I grew up and I became wise and I trusted myself and I trusted my gut, I realize that who I am is quite all right. And I want to sit at tables that people can accept and appreciate me, that I'm going to look different. I'm going to talk different. I'm going to sound different. I'm going to come from a different place. I'm going to come from a different type of experience. But bringing all of that together is really what's going to make us as a country move to an even better level. So, do I want young women to look at me and be inspired to be into real estate? Absolutely. Someone has to be that beacon of hope. And I really want to be able to show that whether I'm mentoring them to go into real estate, mentoring them in high school, because I do some work in different high schools, that is really important to me. So me being bold and authentic, that's just the way I am. So that's my thought on the power of presence. Just always thinking about, if my presence helps someone else step into their power, then I've done something right. This is Leslie Smith with Property Quest Realty, asking that you join me again on another episode.